Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots is the final game to Solid Snake's story, where he's tasked with stopping his brother Liquid, who's now taken over the body of Ocelot, from causing a worldwide insurrection. The game brought back many characters from the previous 3 installments, and has Snake travelling the world to various political hotspots that gives each location a different look and feel to its gameplay. In this video, I've managed to put together as many Easter eggs, references and any other points of interests that I could find. And if you do enjoy this, then subscribe, that way you can stay up to date on all future videos I put up. Now it's time to hunt down Liquid and save the world. At the start of the game, you can view a variety of TV channels and PMC commercials while the first level is loading. During this time, there are a few things of interest to see. Some of the actors that appear here are actually voice actors for MGS4. The 2 that are talking on this show are David Hayter and Lee Merriweather, who do the voices for Snake and Big Mama. By switching between various channels, some will be blank, showing only the name of MGS creator Hideo Kojima, and the channel numbers homage the show Lost, as they're the same set of numbers seen throughout the TV series. In each of the 4 starting acts, Sunny, who's a child prodigy, recites different things while cooking eggs.
7, 8, 9, 2, 5, 9, 0, 3, 6.
In the first act, she sings a series of numbers that are linked to pi in plane geometry, and even the first 5 numbers are one of the codes used on Otacon's computer in his old office to obtain an iPod song.
1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34.
In Act 2, she recites the Fibonacci sequence, which are a set of numbers in which each number is the sum of the 2 preceding ones.
Argon, boron, silicon, and neon.
In Act 3, Sunny sings the chemical elements, as recognised by Naomi from the periodic table. And in the 4th act, she sings a list of names that belong to Japanese train stations in the order of stops. These names have been heard before in the bloody corridor of MGS1 and recited by the corrupted AI at the end of MGS2.
It's a ghost.
During the mission briefings, the Metal Gear Mark II can be used to explore the Nomad. Going over to Otacon's workstation, you'll see both of his computer screens showing images of Konami games, Policenauts and Zone of the Enders, and a toy model of Metal Gear Rex on the desk. And returning to this area in Act 3, you'll see Otacon viewing Naomi's chest on the laptop from his camera that he normally uses to talk to Snake during missions. There's a chicken coop by the helicopter that shows the names of the 3 Snake clones. You can even use the Mark II's wire arm on the chickens to get a reaction from them. At Sunny's workstation, on the monitor's screensaver, there's a character from another Kojima-produced game called Lunar Nights. One screen will later go blank, only showing the game creator's name. At another time, the screen will show folders forming part of a face. And later in the story, Naomi's locket will be hanging from a monitor revealing a picture of Frank Yeager, also known as Grey Fox, who died during the Shadow Moses incident. Using the Mark II's wire arm, you can interact with certain things, such as the upstairs radio, that plays different themes from various Konami games depending on which act the player is in. And in the briefing area, pressing the remote will change the screen to show images of the model Akina. By defeating the Haven troopers in the Advent Palace, and each of the 4 members of the B&B Corps by non-lethal means, you can collect their respective dolls from that particular stage to display in the kitchen area as trophies. There are a couple of brand names on items that are references to past MGS games. On one cigarette packet, it shows the name The Boss, which refers to the legendary mother of Special Forces killed by Big Boss at the end of Operation Snake Eater. And another name found on a compressed box refers to Arsenal Gear, the last location explored in MGS2. On the table by the kitchen area is a PlayStation 3 console. And later, Sonny is playing on the PlayStation Portable that on a closer view appears to be Penguin Adventure, a game released back in 1986 that was the first game Hideo Kojima ever worked on. Moving on to the Middle East, in the cutscene where Snake first reveals his new Octo Camo sneaking suit, there's a box The Geckos Attack that says on the side, "No place for Hideo." This may be a play on the slogan from the game's trailer, "No place to hide." Like in all MGS games, its darker themes are never without a bit of levity, and this game is no exception. By going into any dumpster to hide, then calling Otacon, you'll get a response from this action.
Snake, where are you now?
Trash can. Looks like this is where they dump their household trash. And there's some bugs crawling around on my face. It feels like roaches. There's a whole bunch of them scurrying around.
In the red zone, there's a pair of statues that Snake can pose next to in order to blend in with the environment. Doing this 3 times will result in him breaking off a piece from the central statue. Another Konami game reference takes the form of the Metal Gear Mark II, as it's based on one from the game Snatcher. If Snake contacts Otacon, they will eventually talk about the Solid Eye. Snake mentions having a toy pair of 3D glasses called Tobid Acid, which is a reference to the item that was sold with the Metal Gear Acid 2 game that could attach to the PlayStation Portable screen for 3D viewing. Hideo Kojima is a fan of the Assassin's Creed games and placed an unlockable costume for Snake to wear on replays. The costume is that of the assassin Altair, as the original game was released about a year before MGS4. On a closer look in the viewer, Snake is folding in his left ring finger to imitate the missing fingers of the assassins. Like in MGS3, players can interact with the cutscenes. Besides the X and L1 button prompts, you can press up on the D-pad to zoom in, and move the right stick to look around. Pressing the R2 button will change the names of the characters as voice actors to the names of motion capture artists. Before arriving at the PMC's camp, the players will be introduced to the game's bosses, called the Beauty and the Beast Corps. Each of their designs are an amalgamation of the 3 previous game's bosses. Part of the names and gimmicks are derived from MGS1 Foxhound members, their weapons from MGS2 Dead Cell terrorists, and their emotions from the MGS3 Cobra unit. Laughing Octopus uses her disguising ability like Decoy Octopus. The submachine gun and metal tentacles are based on Solidus snakes. And her emotion is based from the boss, aka the Joy. Raging Raven takes her name from Vulcan Raven. her use of explosives from Fat Man, and her rage from the Fury. Crying Wolf takes her name from Sniper Wolf, uses a railgun based on fortunes, and carries into battle the emotion derived from the sorrow. The B&B unit commander Screaming Mantis takes her name and abilities from Psycho Mantis. The knife throwing skills from Vamp, and her anguish from the pain and the fear. During the B&B intro cutscene, there'll be an L1 prompt when Snake looks up at Screaming Mantis. By moving his point of view to the left of her, you'll see a brief glimpse of Psycho Mantis. In South America, Rose will be introduced as another member of the Codex support team, and there are a few things of interest that can happen with her. Each day the gamer plays on MGS4, Rose will be wearing a different top. While she's talking, using the controller's motion sensor by shaking it will cause her breasts to move. Calling Rose at any point may trigger an amusing conversation between her, Campbell and Snake about how bad Rose's cooking is.
Roy, this isn't really the time.
I want you to hear this too, Rose.
I've already heard it 100.
Yep, it must be nice to live in a country that knows how to cook. Those French rations, délicieux. I wish you could have been there to try some, Snake. And, oh, you too, Rose.
Colonel, what exactly are you?
Some of the best food I'd ever tasted, Rose.
Rose, who does the cooking at your house?
Me. Roy doesn't. What are you getting at?
Colonel, my sympathies.
It's appreciated, Snake.
I actually like those American rations.
If Snake dies in a particular way, he can call Rose during replay where he tells her of his dream about dying.
I've been having these dreams where I get shot and die. I'm sneaking around and suddenly someone shoots me from behind. Or I'm in a gun battle and I get shot through the heart. Rose, I know it sounds weird, but I can't shake this feeling that I've drowned before.
Like deja vu?
Well, more like I have this gut feeling like I died underwater at some point. What's the matter?
I was catching a few minutes of shut-eye, and I had a dream. A dream where you were in an explosion. It seemed so real, I couldn't help but get a little worried.
Relax, I'm alive.
In one of the rooms of the confinement facility, there's a map on the wall showing an island. Though it doesn't look like Shadow Moses Island, the operation name is what drew my attention, as it says Mission Rex, referring to the Metal Gear of the same codename. If Snake kills enough soldiers during combat, an audio flashback of Liquid Snake can be heard quoting something he said in MGS1. This will cause Snake to vomit and lose a portion of his sight gauge.
You enjoy all the killing, that's why. You enjoy all the killing, that's why. What? Are you denying it? Haven't you already killed most of my comrades?
After acquiring the Patriot weapon, when aiming it, snippets from the Snake Eater song will play. Japanese model Akina can be seen on two posters found within the Vista Mansion. During the cutscene with Naomi Hunter, a couple of things can be seen. In one of the L1 prompts, pausing the screen at the right moment, you can see laughing octopus outside the windows. There are also two hidden viewpoints. First, when Snake pretends to drop his cigarette, he tries to get a glimpse up Naomi's skirt. The second is when she tells Snake about his lifespan. He'll look at her chest, and this will even refill his sight gauge. There are a couple of funny moments during the Laughing Octopus battle when she disguises herself as the Mark II. Using the codec a couple of times at this point will trigger an argument between Snake and Otacon.
Otacon, what's wrong? Why are you calling me over there?
Huh? What are you talking about? I didn't say anything.
It was you.
I'm telling you, I didn't call you. This is no time for jokes.
Not very smart, are we?
Otacon, what the hell were you thinking sending me over there?
Hold on a minute. I didn't tell you to go anywhere.
Thanks a lot. I just got nailed by a trap. Are you trying to get me killed?
Now wait a second, Snake.
And by sneaking behind the fake Mark II, it will set off its own trap. Using adult magazines as a distraction makes a return in MGS4. By examining the front cover, one of the headings names drops Hideo Kojima, and this heading mentions FPSs, which could be a possible reference to the early game trailer. There are also jokes in the game about people's genitalia. One amusing way to knock out the enemy is during the pat down for items. Snake will wrench their genitals to make them unconscious. But try doing this to a Haven trooper, who are all female, will end disastrously. And whether this is coincidence or an intentional euphemism, there's an item you can obtain next to a urinating soldier that is called the foregrip. While tracking Naomi through the mountain trail, there's a small clearing before the river crossing that has a crop circle. By standing in the circle, an audio flashback will be heard from the corrupted AI at the end of MGS2.
Something happened to me last Thursday when I was driving home. I had a couple of miles to go. I looked up and saw a glowing orange object in the sky, to the east. It was moving very irregularly. Suddenly, there was intense light all around me. I came to, I was home.
In the area where the soldier is laying a claymore mine, there's a trail that leads to a dead end. It's here you can find a bunch of handprints displayed on a metal surface. On it are signatures and handprints from several of the MGS4 game designers. Snake can even lay over it to acquire a new camouflage called Hand Camo. On rare occasions, Snake's actions can even anger Otacon. While following a member of the Resistance in Eastern Europe, he can shoot them instead, before calling up Otacon to hear his response. But after doing this so many times, the mission will eventually fail.
The Resistance! Snake, what are you doing? We need them to lead us to Big Mama's hideout.
Who was that?
Snake, do not kill the Resistance. They're our only means of finding Big Mama's hideout. Knock it off, Snake! Are you trying to abort this mission? What? Snake! Snake! You can't be killing members of the Resistance like that!
Two more posters appear around the city showing the Japanese model Akina, and by looking at any of these posters in first-person view, Snake will call out her name.
It's Akina.
Like in the last game, you can spin Snake around in the camouflage menu that once going back into the game will result in him throwing up. Wearing the face camo of another character in this location will make it easier for Snake to move around without alerting any PMCs and Resistance members. You will even get a horny response from them if Snake is wearing one of the B&B face masks.
What was that? You looking for a real man? Yeah!
While following a Resistance member across town, a creepy thing is happening at the same time. Every so often, if you look back at certain points, you'll see someone wearing a trench coat and a fedora who appear to be following Snake, and if you chase them around the corner, they'll mysteriously vanish. They are revealed later to be dwarf geckos, trying to find Big Mama's hidden base, but it doesn't make it any less unsettling. Beyond the park area, if Snake is close enough to one building in particular, someone can be heard playing the original 1987 Metal Gear game. Snake's bad luck continues while pretending to be a statue. Within the park, if he poses long enough, the Resistance member will rush toward him to relieve himself by Snake's feet. In the cutscene where Snake first enters the Resistance hideout, there'll be an L1 prompt to switch to his POV. If quick enough, by turning his head toward either side, you can see detailed paintings of all previous MGS games, including Portable Ops. If the camera and iPod is acquired during the game, then they can be used with any of the Beauty and the Beast bosses. In a place called the White World, pointing the camera on a beauty will make them do a pose. Playing a particular song by a Japanese singing duo on the iPod will make them break into a dance. And as a side note, while the song is playing, Sunny can sometimes be seen doing the same dance moves back on the Nomad. On Shadow Moses Island, wearing the sneaking suit while using Snake's younger face camo with the bandana on, then equipping the SOCOM pistol by the entrance of the hangar will make him feel nostalgic.
Just like old times.
If Snake dies during Act 4, then the mission fail music will change to the MGS1 Game Over theme.
Snake, respond! Snake? Snake!
Obtaining the camera in the Nomad will allow you to view ghostly images of game developers and story characters on Shadow Moses. This is made more easy after acquiring the Sorrow doll from Screaming Mantis than equipping it on the second playthrough. There are plenty of these ghosts to find all over Shadow Moses, and some are more creepy than others. Two older Easter eggs from the first game can be found in the basement offices of the nuclear weapons storage building. In one room next to the electrified hallway is the Moai statue head. The other is a police notes poster found in Otcon's office, along with an additional poster showing Zone of the Enders. Snake will provoke a negative response from his support team if he starts shooting animals.
What are you doing to those birds? It's slaughter! Enough already! Snake, that's just cruel! Knock it off and get moving!
If you keep on killing animals for no reason, we will be forced to conduct a thorough psychological review upon your return.
Before heading downstairs into the blast furnace, Snake will receive a call from Otacon. MGS4 then breaks the fourth wall, making fun of itself for having to swap discs in the original game in this exact spot.
But you need to swap disc 1 for disc 2. You see the disc labeled 2?
No.
Huh? Oh, wait! We're on PlayStation 3! It's a Blu-ray disc. Dual layered, too. No need to swap.
Damn it, Otacon! Get a grip!
When Raiden and Vamp are fighting on top of Rex, trying to fire the railgun toward them won't work, as Snake prevents himself out of the risk of hitting his friend and says the same quotes from a similar situation in the first game.
Do it! No, I can't. I can't shoot.
After Zanzibar, I was taken from the battle. No, neither truly alive nor truly dead. An undying shadow.
In the final cutscene of Act 4, Raiden is falling into the water when music and bits of dialogue are heard from him and Rose. As the screen goes black, there are hidden images that the X prompt doesn't reveal, but by pressing the button as the screen blinks, you can see images from MGS2. During the Act 5 mission briefing, you can use the left analog stick to control the projection's image, but the characters don't react to this. Using the emotion magazines on regular soldiers will make them break down and lose control. However, trying this on a Haven trooper will get a different result, as the elite female soldiers stand to attention instead and salute the images of their commanding officers. Getting killed during Act 5 will send the player to the mission failed screen as usual, but there's a slight difference. If you wait for a moment, the screen will glitch, changing the word exit to exist. By selecting this option, Ocelot will prevent you from quitting the game, and the cursor will re-highlight continue.
Brother, it's not over. Not yet.
During the fight with Screaming Mantis, there's a couple of amusing codec conversations with Rose and Campbell, referencing the Psycho Mantis battle in MGS1.
Snake, this is Mantis we're talking about. Back then we defeated him by using multiple controller ports to counteract his mind-reading powers. Plug the controller into controller port 2.
Do you see any controller ports here? Deceiving Mantis is going to take more than simply pushing the PS button to switch controller numbers.
Mantis always hated seeing his birth face. Attack that bust and break off the leather seal.
There's no bust.
What?
There is no bust here to attack.
You're kidding.
The game creator's name appears on 2 occasions during battle. The screen blacks out like in the original game, showing the name Hideo. The second time is when the player is tricked into believing the game crashed and restarted, only now Konami is replaced with Kojima, and the following screen replaces Kojima Productions with Kojima Protection. When Psycho Mantis finally appears, he tries to show off to the player his abilities, but the scene will play out differently depending on whether or not you've switched off the controller's vibration function.
What? Where is your data? Where is it saved? There's no memory card. Now, I will move your controller by the power of my will alone. What? No vibration either?
Alternatively, he will cheer if the controller's vibration is still present. Images of Hideo Kojima can be seen in a hidden X prompt when Mantis floats away. You can do this the moment a mysterious male voice yells out. After Psycho Mantis disappears, there's a hidden L1 prompt when Snake looks toward the balcony. From his point of view, you can see the sorrow from MGS3. When entering the microwave hallway, the Mark III will input the code 573 to open the door. 573 is significant because it relates to Japanese wordplay called goroways, where numbers are assigned a set of syllables that can be pronounced in certain ways with other numbers to create another meaning. So 573 pronounced in Japanese sounds like Konami. In the final battle with Liquid Ocelot, when Snake is put into a headlock, you have to try and break away from his grip, but press nothing, and Ocelot will provoke Snake by kissing him on the cheek. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be doing some more monster analysis videos next, starting with the very original Resident Evil game. And of course more Easter eggs and references videos will be coming shortly, so look out for them. So if you haven't yet and you want to see more content like this, then subscribe, that way you can stay up to date on all future videos I put up. And as always, thanks to all of you who have subscribed and are helping to make this channel grow. So until the next video, bye everyone.